Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Carl, and you already know the deal. I already have my name on my chest. You see the picture back there on the wall with my name on it. I want to get into the differences between truth and honesty because there are differences between those two, let's say, states of being, for lack of a better term. Truth is information. That's all that it is. You know, you can take something like this piece of paper is white. You see it's white, it's clearly white. That's all that it is. There's no bias to it, there's no story behind it. The paper is white. So, to take it further, I can say, like the Kennedy assassination, for example. President Kennedy was shot and killed on November 22nd, 1963. And you can say that's truth because everybody's seen this brutal film. The funeral happened. Everything was done in that time frame. There was no other information that was needed. You knew he was killed on that day. Now, with truth, there's always the bare bones information that you have to get to. Truth is an answer. You have to find that information to get to the bare bones answer of whatever you are seeking. Just like math, you can never ever finish an equation without knowing what the answer is going to be. Otherwise, you can write down a whole series of numbers. You can keep going, you can keep going, you can keep going, and it would never end unless you have what? An answer. Okay? So with truth, the bare bones information is the truth. It has no bias, it has no other connotations to it. It is what it is. Honesty is the assessment of truth. It's an assessment of lies. Yes, there's a such thing as an honest lie. It's just a person being honest in either their position or viewing what happened, taking the information that they were given, and that's all the information they have, that's all they're going to resuscitate. So, knowing that, all right, we take the JFK example. He was shot and killed on November 22nd, 1963. Okay, and this is not a Kennedy assassination video by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not getting into conspiracy theories. I'll do a video down the line because this is 2023, so that would make 60 years in November that he was assassinated, and I'll do a video down the line about it and so forth. But what I'm getting at, you had hundreds of people, if not thousands of people, that witnessed it there in Dallas on that day. Many of them are not alive now, because it is 60 years and, a lot of those people passed on, but there were witnesses to it. So any assessment of them telling what happened is their honest opinion on it, and they saw him get shot. Some of them said it was 3 bullets. Some of them said it was 4 bullets. Some people saw Oswald or a person in the window with a rifle. Okay? That's their honest assessment. You hear different stories around the fact that President Kennedy was killed. That is honesty. It's you assessing what you saw or witnessed. Is like you take the information, which is the truth, And then you take honesty and you start layering, stories behind what the base information is. Okay? Now, the base information could be wrong, you know, like I'll go back to the paper example. The piece of paper is white. There are different colors of paper that's out there. Well, the paper you may have is pink. The paper you may have is yellow, and so forth. So, that truth can be different amongst different people depending on what the subject matter is. And sometimes people conflate the truth with honesty, and the truth is nothing more than information. If the paper is white, the paper is white. That's it. There's no emotion with it, there's no, story with it. Now, when you're talking about somebody being honest about something, and I'm going to try to keep this video short because I don't want it to be talking in circles and so forth, because all I'm saying, there's a difference between truth and honesty. Because when you look at religion, when you look at politics, you can look at relationships, you can be totally honest about what your religion is. You can be totally honest about your political affiliation. You can be totally honest about your relationship, whether it's with your girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, family, job, whatever. And you can be honest about what you assess with the situation that you are in or that you're affiliated with. But that situation itself might be built upon a lie. That's like Stalin, Hitler, any of the North Korean leaders. They may tell their people one thing, and what may actually be happening is something different, because people start giving their opinions and their honest assessments that may not be factually the truth. So when you talk about somebody being honest, it's those particular people that can assess a situation without bias or without benefit or taking away from somebody else or the truth. It's like I'm telling my story without me trying to build myself up, build somebody else up, build up a cause. I'm assessing what happened. I'm telling you my version of the truth. So I'm adding a story to the information. So you may take the information and add your layers to it. And you could be totally honest about your layers, even though that truth may not be real. So it's like, well, how the hell is the truth not real if it's information? Well, it depends on what you're talking about. So you could be in an argument with somebody, and both of you are factually correct, but your premise may be wrong in that argument. And you may say, well, I'm going to argue this to my grave. The other person may say, well, I'll just agree to disagree, and we could just move on with the argument. And then you got some people that want to change the narrative of what you're arguing about. And those people are just trying to be right without, settling what the argument was before. And you're not going to convince everybody of what the truth is, because we as human beings always have to add layers to everything that we do. We can't just say the sky is blue without saying, well, it depends on how much ozone is there and how much oxygen and water vapor and blah, blah, blah. Well, the base is the sky is blue. Then you might have somebody else to say the sky is orange because the sun is there, blah, 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 blah. Base information is the truth. It doesn't have to have bias, and it's just bare. When you're being honest about it, you're really taking your perception of what the truth is and trying to explain that out. I know to a lot of people the video here is not going to make a whole lot of sense logically, but if you think about it, and this will help you in your arguments, always get to the root of the information no matter what the subject is to have a better understanding of what's happening. Because sometimes you can argue yourself out of a situation to your benefit because you're not standing on the truth. And that could be any situation. The moment you get outside of that box and you have no real facts to stand on, you're going to lose the argument in the long run because you're not being honest about what the situation is. So, whenever you speak of truth and honesty, you have to have your facts straight, and you have to have it on a base information, a base knowledge base, however you want to frame it. And to go from that going forward, you will have a better understanding without being divisive, without always feeling like you have to win every argument. You don't have to win every argument. Every argument is not meant to be won. You know, I'm not going to be right about everything that I say. You're not going to be right about everything that you say, but you can learn from it and you can become a better person because of it. Until people understand the difference between truth and honesty, you're never going to have arguments that are productive because you're getting somebody else's view of what they saw. And I'll go back to the JFK example. They may see it at a whole different angle that you didn't see. And that'll give you a better understanding of what's happening. And then you can understand where other people are coming from before you start arguing them down without knowing what their truth perspective is versus their honest perspective. So I'm going to keep it short. That's just something for you to sit back and think on. And you have a good day, evening, night, whatever. But just think about that the next time you have an argument with somebody. Always try to understand what the truth is and where the basis of their truth is coming from. Until next time.